Hi, this is Mark Shepherd. I'm an acupuncturist in Donington, Chichester, West Sussex. Today we're going to be looking at number 5 of the 5 different people types within a particular acupuncture theory. And the reason for doing this is that if we can start to understand what person type we fit into, then we can understand why we might behave in certain ways, what our default behaviours and feelings are when we're feeling under pressure, when we're feeling tense, exhausted, or just generally how we relate to the world. And understanding that we're part of a group, we can then know that there are more positive traits within that group. And if we're part of that group, then hopefully these more positive traits are things that we can experience as well, if we just realise that they're there. So again, I'm going to be looking at my notes, put some notes together for today because I want to try and deliver this as best that I can. You'll probably find that I stutter anyway, but this would hopefully try and bring it down a bit. So today's person type is going to be a water type, and what I'd like you to do is try and beat me to it. So I want you to think about in nature how water, how you come across water in nature, and it's different environments. And so also, what about paintings and pictures? How is water depicted in paintings and pictures? If you look at what that brings, the emotional content of it, the physical capacity of it, it can then start pointing towards what a water type might be like. So let's first have a look at the less positive, if you like, default settings that a water type can feel. So it can be a difficulty in appropriately assessing risk. So they might see danger everywhere, or actually struggle to see the dangers that are right there in front of them. They can be excessively fearful, and that can lead to isolation due to fear of danger. They can be frozen into inaction, so frozen, another water analogy already. They can always be looking for the potential dangers, or rather the potential dangers to seem really apparent to them. They can be anxiety and panic, and they can be experiencing these to some degree whilst appearing quite calm on the outside. So the analogy of the water, of a swan, gliding across the water, the swan seems really serene, but underneath everything's going 10 to the dozen. So they can be a danger seeker. They can be an apparent lack of fear, or it can be the thrill of the danger, or just the drive to push back against the feelings of fear that they get. So there can be a lack of will and drive, or there can be excessive will and drive, sometimes leading to overworking or overplaying, and which then brings with it absolute exhaustion. It can be an inability to reassure ourselves, or to hear and take on the reassurance coming from others. And phobias. Now, phobias are not just something for a water type. So with all the types, we all have all the types within us, but one of the types is is the default for us. But understanding what a phobia can be like, an excessive fear, which we know is just doesn't make sense but exists anyway, can be what is like for a water type. But the some of the many positive aspects of water types are: I have courage, and courage is not the absence of fear, it's about how fear is managed. I am outgoing, I am driven and overcome setbacks. I am achieving and can be driven while still looking after my energy reserves. I am calm and I bring calmness to others. I'm great at looking at possibilities to assess the best way forward and have the drive to see them through. I reassure myself and listen to the reassurance of others and can take this in. I enjoy taking on challenges and finding the way. So water types can bring calmness and courage. They can look at situations from various different angles and be able to then select the best way that they want to take forward, and have the drive and willpower to see it through. And that's some of what you water types can bring to the world. So this is the sort of thing that I would work with, particularly with one style of acupuncture. I know this goes into other styles as well, but particularly with one style of acupuncture, this is really up there. in terms of how it diagnoses, treats, etc. So as I can't actually treat at the moment due to the whole social distancing, what I'm suggesting is self-coaching. So what I do for myself, if I'm in a situation where my triggers are going off, then I can't necessarily whip out a needle and start using a point, but what I can do is self-coach. So it's taking what I might be experiencing and flipping it over to the positive, which is why I've gone through all the positive traits in the present tense. Because when you look at coaching, a number of coaches that I've come across will have us express our goals as if they've already happened. So not saying that I want to be more courageous, I want to be more outgoing, I want to do this, it's having it in the present tense. And so it will be just going back to where we were. I have courage, I am driven, and I overcome setbacks. I am achieving and can be driven while looking at my energy reserves, or I am driven while looking after my energy reserves. I am calm and I bring calmness to others. I'm great at looking at the possibilities to assess the best way forward. I reassure myself and I listen and take in the reassurance of others. I enjoy taking on challenges and finding the way. So those are some of the positive aspects. Now, as I said, this is not supposed to be an act of will. This is just a way of gently encouraging ourselves. We might want to say this in the morning, we might want to say this in the evening, and I'll be very surprised if we're not doing this anyway, to a degree. So if anyone's gone and done something that they find challenging, they would have probably gone through the self-talk in their head. I can do this, bang, and go for it. It might be, I don't know, jumping off a diving board they've never done before. It might be trying a different type of physical pursuit. It might be sitting an exam. It might be asking someone out on a date. So there's lots of different ways that we might be accessing this anyway, but this is just a way of making it more deliberate as a gentle exercise if you wish to do it. And it's certainly what I do for myself. So if you are really struggling emotionally and mentally with your mental health at the moment, with your emotional health at the moment, please do look on the NHS website to see what help you can access, who you can be talking to. Please do take those steps to look after yourself. So I hope you found this interesting. I hope you found it helpful. Do comment below and let me know. Now, while this is number 5 of 5, there will be a 6th one of these in a few days' time, because what I would like to do is just pull it together and see how we can help ourselves, as I've already described, but again, looking a bit more of an overall view. So, stay well, and look forward to catching up. Bye-bye.